Samsung's Unpacked event is here, and with it, we've got info of what's coming up with the latest in the Galaxy line, including Samsung's all-new flagship smartphone, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, following up last year's S22 Ultra. The S23 Ultra may be more of an iterative upgrade over the S22 Ultra rather than a revolution, but even still, the S23 Ultra is said to offer up new features and a more powerful chip. So, is Samsung's new flagship worth it? Naturally, we'll have to get our hands on an S23 Ultra for testing to give you a full picture, but there's a lot to learn from the information Samsung's already revealed. So sit back, relax, and watch on to hear all about what the differences on paper are between the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and S22 Ultra. Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra price. The Samsung S23 Ultra starts at $1,199, which is the same starting price as the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Fortunately, you get double the starting storage, which is now 256GB versus 128GB for the previous model, and the starting RAM is still 8GB. If you want 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, you'll pay $1,379, and the 1TB model with the same amount of RAM will cost you $1,619. The Galaxy S23 Ultra with 256GB of storage cost $1,1299 last year, and the 512GB model cost $1,399. The 1TB S22 Ultra doesn't appear to be available. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra design. Samsung made only a few minor tweaks to the Galaxy S23 Ultra design this year, with the most critical to me being the move from a waterfall edge display to a flatter display with a subtle curve. Otherwise, you're getting the same industrial design with the exposed camera lenses that we saw on the Galaxy S22 Ultra. While it begs for a case to protect those lenses and allows it to lay flat on a table, it's so tempting to go case-free as it feels fantastic to hold. At 3.1 by 6.4 by 0.35 inches and 8.25 ounces, the S23 Ultra is 0.17 ounces heavier than its predecessor, but the dimensions are nearly identical. I give the slight lead to the Galaxy S23 Ultra due to my preference for a flatter display, but there is virtually nothing to distinguish the two. Winner: Galaxy S23 Ultra. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra display. Samsung made some software tweaks for the Galaxy S23 Ultra display, and we'll need to thoroughly test what the difference any of those made. But from a hardware standpoint, these two remain the same. Both Ultras boast a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X display with a WQHD+ resolution and an adaptive refresh rate that scales from 1Hz to 120Hz depending on what's on the screen. Samsung still has inarguably the best mobile displays on the market, so there's no loser here, but we'll update the section with the lab results when we have them to see if Samsung has actually upped its game more than we thought. Winner: draw. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus S22 Ultra power. Samsung's latest S23 Ultra Galaxy is coming with an all-new chipset versus last year's Galaxy, theoretically bringing more power to the table. For the 2023 lineup of Galaxy phones, Samsung is pushing Qualcomm's Snapdragon Gen 2 chip, the second generation of chip powering the S22 Galaxy line, but there's a twist too. The chip inside the Galaxy S23 Ultra isn't running at the standard clock speeds of the Snapdragon 8, it's been overclocked. The S23 Ultra chip has got a 3.36 GHz CPU clock and a 719 MHz clock, increasing CPU speed by 0.16 GHz and GPU speed by 39 MHz. Make no mistake, a faster processor is usually better than a slower one, but whether or not this overclock actually has meaningful performance benefits over the same chip running at base clock speeds remains to be seen. It's also worth keeping in mind that the S23 Ultra has the same 5000 mAh battery of the S22 Ultra. So, even if the Gen 2 version of Snapdragon 8 is more efficient than the last generation, if the chipset has also been overclocked, it may well be a possibility that battery life might be slightly worse on the S23 Ultra. However, as far as the performance and battery life go, you'll have to wait for us to get our hands on an S23 Ultra for testing to give you the full picture. Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra cameras. The biggest Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra differences come down to the cameras, starting with a new 200 megapixel sensor that delivers enough detail to create poster-sized prints. The adaptive pixel sensor can also combine 16 pixels into one larger pixel for brighter and more detailed photos, especially in lower light conditions. If you engage the 200 megapixel mode, you can also crop in on photos after the fact and reframe your shot. The Galaxy S23 Ultra also includes a new 12 megapixel front camera, which seems like a downgrade compared to the Galaxy S22 Ultra's 40 megapixel front camera. However, Samsung promises better portraits overall thanks to better AI along with a compelling night portrait mode. Just like the Galaxy S22 Ultra, the Galaxy S23 Ultra features dual 10 megapixel telephoto cameras with 3x and 10x optical zoom and a 30x digital zoom option. You can even go all the way up to 100x space zoom. The S23 Ultra also builds on nightography features of the S22 Ultra, optimizing photos in low light while reducing noise and improved details and color tones. There's still an expert RAW app for shooting in RAW format, but now you can tinker with multiple exposures or use astrophoto settings to capture the stars. Video gets a boost with the Samsung S23 Ultra, as you can now shoot 8K video at 30fps, up from 24fps. And you get double the optical image stabilizer angles for steadier footage. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra, battery life and charging. Once again, no changes for this year. The Galaxy S23 Ultra and Galaxy S22 Ultra both feature 5000 mAh batteries and 45W wired fast charging. This category is going to remain a draw until we have our battery tests complete, as the improved efficiency of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 may have a significant impact despite the matching batteries, but we just don't know that yet. Winner, draw. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus S22 Ultra sound. The audio setup of the Galaxy S23 Ultra looks to be on paper just about as same as the S22 Ultra, but that may actually be a good thing. With the S22's Ultra Dolby Atmos stereo speakers, we found that the phone managed to offer up a meatier, more spacious soundstage than the competition, even if those speakers lack dynamic haptic vibration, the likes of which you can find in Sony's Xperia line of smartphones. In terms of listening to audio with headphones on the S22 Ultra, we found its performance to be competitive in our review, though it didn't manage to compete with the best of the best in terms of headphone audio quality. Altogether, audio quality on the S22 Ultra was tough to beat in terms of its speakers and not a poor performer in terms of headphone sound quality. So, if the S23 Ultra is bringing the same audio performance as its predecessor, chances are you won't be disappointed with the power on offer. Of course, we'll have to test out the S23 Ultra to give you our full thoughts on its audio quality and performance. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus Galaxy S22 Ultra outlook. As I'm sure you noticed, there are very few changes this year for the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, some are potentially significant like the 200 megapixel primary camera and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but we'll have to see how they perform in our testing before we decide just how massive they are. If you currently own a Galaxy S22 Ultra, you are safe skipping the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Even if the camera and performance upgrades prove more significant than we are currently projecting, there simply isn't enough more to warrant the upgrade. Wait for the Galaxy S24 Ultra to see what Samsung has in store. If you're coming from the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra or any of the previous Galaxy S series devices, this is a great entry point and likely one of the best phones of 2023. Check back with us soon and we'll update this face-off with our real-world testing to give you our final decision. That is all for this video. I hope it has helped you make a decision. Let me know what you think of in the comment section and stay connected with the channel. As always, I will see you at the next one.